Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into a political firestorm that's ignited passionate reactions across South Africa, and even beyond its borders. President Cyril Ramaphosa's recent remarks at the Nampo Agricultural Expo have triggered outrage, confusion, and a flurry of heated debate. His controversial comment, referring to Afrikaner farmers who left South Africa as cowards, has touched a raw nerve in an already tense national conversation about land, race, security, and national loyalty. So, let's unpack exactly what happened, what was said, and why this moment matters so much in the broader political landscape of South Africa. During a surprise visit to the Nampo Harvest Day Expo in Bothaville, in the Free State Province, President Ramaphosa addressed a gathering of farmers, many of whom are Afrikaners, about the importance of staying the course and working together to address the challenges facing South Africa's agricultural sector. In the midst of this, he took aim at those who had left the country, especially those now seeking or granted asylum abroad. Referring specifically to Afrikaner farmers who have immigrated due to fears of farm attacks, land seizures, and instability, Ramaphosa said, and we quote, "When you run away, you are a coward, and that's a real cowardly act." Those few words, "you are a coward," have sent shockwaves across the country. To understand the backlash, we must look at the background. Over the last decade, South Africa has seen an uptick in immigration among its white population, especially among Afrikaners, many of whom cite fears over crime, economic instability, and especially land expropriation without compensation. Rural areas have been plagued by violent farm attacks, some of which have been brutal and deeply traumatic. Advocacy groups have highlighted the plight of white farmers, claiming they are being targeted for their race and land. Others argue these attacks reflect broader crime trends that affect all South Africans, regardless of race or background. Just recently, the issue was catapulted to international attention when reports emerged that former U.S. President Donald Trump had authorized the resettlement of 49 Afrikaner South Africans as refugees in the United States. According to advocates, these individuals had faced what they described as egregious violence and land-related threats. While the South African government has strongly denied the existence of systemic persecution against white farmers, the situation remains politically charged and emotionally raw. In this context, Ramaphosa's "cowards" comment has landed like a punch to the gut for many. Critics have slammed the president for showing insensitivity to the trauma experienced by farmers and for failing to acknowledge the real fear that drives many families to leave. For them, leaving South Africa is not about abandoning the nation, but about ensuring the safety of their loved ones. Many Afrikaners took to social media to voice their frustration. Some called the president's comment divisive, tone-deaf, and even racist. Others questioned whether the government is doing enough to protect farming communities from violent crime. For these critics, the president's remarks come off as an attempt to shame those who have lost faith in the state's ability to ensure their security. On the other side, Ramaphosa supporters argue that he was simply making a point about resilience and national loyalty. According to them, the president was encouraging all South Africans, regardless of race, to remain and participate in building a better, safer country. In his view, abandoning ship is not a solution. He believes that those who stay and help fix the problems are the true patriots. But here's where things get even more complex. The issue is not just about farmers, crime, or land. It's also about identity, privilege, historical wounds, and who gets to call themselves loyal or brave in post-apartheid South Africa. For many Black South Africans who have endured decades of systemic inequality, the idea that Afrikaners, beneficiaries of the apartheid regime, are now victims can feel deeply ironic. From their perspective, the same communities that were shielded from the worst of apartheid now want special treatment when facing adversity in a democratic society. Meanwhile, Afrikaners argue that they, too, have faced hardship in the new South Africa, with economic transformation policies often limiting their access to jobs and opportunities. They say they are being scapegoated and left vulnerable, both economically and physically. This clash of narratives is what makes Ramaphosa's comments so volatile. In a country still grappling with the legacies of apartheid, racial inequality, and land ownership disparities, any statement touching on these issues is bound to provoke strong emotions. And then there's the international dimension. The US accepting Afrikaner refugees is being interpreted by some as a tacit acknowledgement of political failure in South Africa. It raises uncomfortable questions. If foreign nations are willing to classify white South Africans as refugees, what does that say about the safety and stability of the country? And how will such moves affect South Africa's international reputation? It's also worth noting that this is not the first time the topic of white farmer refugees has sparked international interest. In 2018, Donald Trump tweeted that he was directing his Secretary of State to look into the large-scale killing of farmers in South Africa. That tweet alone set off a diplomatic row between the two countries. So, in many ways, Ramaphosa's latest comment reopens old wounds and recharges an already volatile debate. But here's the bottom line: South Africa is at a crossroads. The country is facing deep economic struggles, political instability, widespread unemployment, and increasing violence. In such a context, unity is more important than ever. Whether or not one agrees with President Ramaphosa, the larger question remains: how can South Africans come together to solve their shared problems instead of pointing fingers or fleeing the country? For some, leaving is an act of self-preservation. For others, staying and fighting for change is a moral duty. The debate over what defines courage or cowardice is far from over. So, what do you think? Was President Ramaphosa out of line for calling Afrikaner refugees a cowards? Or was he speaking a difficult truth about national responsibility? We want to hear from you in the comments below. If you found this video thought-provoking, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth political commentary on South African current affairs. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you next time.